Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the craziest time we've had yet, especially in the financial market space. So, today we are going to look at what are all the different things that are shifting in the crypto landscape and in the currency and financial landscape. What are the new landscapes that are coming up, and give you solutions on how to protect yourself from all the craziness that's going on, hopefully by understanding it, but also giving you actionable steps to go forward and protect yourself from the shit show, for lack of a better word. But that's actually the best word for it. It is a shit show. So, have you noticed that we are now experiencing the effects of shutting down the entire world for a couple years? When we are in this place in history, throughout history, the old financial system, which is usually based on a fiat currency, gains so much debt that eventually it has to blow up because money is debt. And now we're at a place where countries are at over 100% debt to GDP, which means they have more debt than they're making in a year, which makes it harder and harder for them to pay off their debt payments, their interest payments. That then leads to the meltdown of currencies, the meltdown of societies, usually ends up in war, and all the things that we've spoken about ad nauseum. And now we're going through that process. So we're seeing that manifested in a major way. And obviously, we've been talking about this for the past 3.5 years. So if you've been listening for a long time, you know exactly what we've been predicting. And it's been very obvious. It's not just us predicting it. There's a lot of financial experts, Ray Dalio, and many other ones that have actually explained all of this stuff. So now we're going through that process. So today, as the interest rates have been kept high by the Federal Reserve, that's made it harder for companies to borrow money over the long term and even over the short term. That means today, right now, unemployment is starting to rise, right? Inflation was rising, so they raised the interest rates as a way to slow down inflation. The raising of the interest rates means that companies that can't borrow as much money start to fire people. It's a natural process. But when unemployment starts to rise, that's usually one of the final signals in telling us that there is a financial black swan event coming, which will then trigger the next wave of money printing, and then we'll print to a large number again, pump it into the economy, keep this behemoth alive, assets will pump, and then we'll go through the same process again where assets will get overblown. All of that money creates inflation. They try to stop inflation and markets collapse. And we're going to go through this seesaw process, which is very normal. If you'd like to learn about how this has happened in history, look at gold prices during the Deutsche Mark collapse in Germany. That will give you a very clear representation. Gold was double-digit Deutsche Marks, then it crashed, then it was triple-digit, crashed, quadruple-digit, crashed, then it was tens of thousands, then it was millions, then it was billions, then it was trillions of Deutsche Marks, and then the currency just became worthless and a new currency was created. And on the side, we had a dose of a bunch of wars, World War I and World War II. That's just how this game gets played. But we're going through one of the first collapses in this process. Now, the first collapse was actually 2008. After 2008, we went into a free money process where money was just flooded into the system. That kept it alive until 2020. We had another crash. More money was pumped in. We went on another run. Now we're having another crash. It's going to feel like this is the final crash, but this is not. We are on a roller coaster that is going to go on for years, potentially decades, which we don't know exactly how it's going to look. But in history, it looks like this. As unemployment is rising, real estate markets globally are peaking. So let me go back. Unemployment is rising across the world. What is the solution for you? The best thing you can do is gain skills. Learn skills in these new spaces that are opening up. Learn how to use AI. Learn how to enter the crypto space. Learn how to build these new value models. And the more skillful you become, the more opportunity you will have, and the less unemployment is likely to affect you. Today, you can just click buttons on a computer and live the free life and come here to Bali and hang out with us. Real estate markets are peaking across the world. In some places, they've already peaked and started to drop, like Germany and the east coast of the US and many other places. In other places like Bali, they're still going up, but they are peaking. In that process, if you've been thinking about selling your real estate, I think now is a good time to start really seriously thinking about that process or get ready to hold for years and years and years. Pretty simple process. Now, when unemployment rises and real estate markets start to crash at the same time, that creates the real pain for people because now your house is worth less and you're not making as much money. So naturally, that creates stress for people and that causes a lot of calamities to happen in the process. Good news for some people. Apple has launched their headset, or they've announced their headset, and they're going to launch it in 2024. What that means is the metaverse is here. The metaverse is here, and it's going to go into full effect as of 2024. The internet is going to become a non-local experiential space. That non-local experiential space will change the way that we experience the internet. It's about to be incorporated into every corner of reality with artificial intelligences that will communicate with us. So the experiential conversational internet is coming. Non-locality as a concept means that we'll be able to interact as if we're anywhere in the world as the infrastructure gets deployed by 2030. What you can do about that, what you can do about Apple launching their headset is get ahead of this process. If you're a content generator, start to look at generating 360 content. If you are in the technical space, start to learn how to participate in the metaverse itself. If you are somebody who wants to learn AI, learn AI. I mean, AI is going to be everything going forward. And if you're in crypto, start to look at the development of the metaverse tokens, but also tokenized AI and gaming and a lot of other opportunities are going to come down the pipe. And this time around, I think they're going to be a lot more solid. We're not just going to have like Axie games where people are clicking buttons just to make money. I think we're going to have true long-term metaverses where people will want to live inside of them, like World of Warcraft developing this time around. And the opportunity is massive because when you combine metaverse, AI, the experiential internet, and crypto together, that's just value on value on value on value on value. Now, you might be somebody who's terrified of this space, but I'm of the opinion that this is the same thing as cell phones. People were terrified of cell phones until those people realized that this is just how the world goes. So get with it or don't. Regardless, it's here. So get with it. Crypto is being regulated. So there's a lot of people that are getting really scared about crypto being regulated. And I can understand your fear because we think crypto is here to give us freedom. But let's remember the technology is called blockchain. That's a cryptographic and cryptic way of telling you that it's here to block you and chain you within a new world and in a new reality and a new metaverse. So regulations are being implemented across the world. For me, that's a great thing because when you think about finance, there's no way we would let billions and trillions of dollars flow just willy-nilly from wallet address to wallet address without any kind of tracking or without any kind of verifiability of who's moving it. And I know the crypto heads love to talk about, yeah, but I want my autonomy and I want my freedom. And I get that. And I agree with that freedom is very important and there's other ways to protect freedom. But I'll ask you this question. Do you want child traffickers to be able to move money without anybody finding out? There's a lot of use cases like that, which we don't want in society. So the regulations are a good thing. Now, different jurisdictions are implementing different regulations. So this is where the jurisdictional arbitrage is going to become very important. The US is just cracking down very hard. China kicked blockchain out of the country, made it illegal back in the day. Then the US was championing blockchain. Now, US is blocking blockchain companies and many companies are leaving the US and the regulators coming after crypto companies. So now China is thinking about accepting cryptocurrency in the country. So you see how there's a geopolitical war going on that we are barely able to see between these powers and many other powers. So you have to then determine which country you would like to structure yourself in, which country you'd like to live in, which regulations you would like to be under, and how you'd like to participate. So crypto is being regulated. My solution is embrace regulations because we live in a regulated world. So if you're somebody who thinks blockchain is going to give us freedom, that's your choice. I think regulations are freedom because they give clarity to what's going on in the financial world. They give clarity to these new business models, and the trillions of dollars of sovereign wealth fund money and the real wealth that's sitting in the world is going to now be transitioned into this space because of regulations. So net positive as far as I'm concerned. One huge thing that happened recently was Ledger updated their security protocols so that you can save your seed phrase with 3 custodians. And crypto heads went crazy and worried about how this is taking away the freedom of being able to self-custody things, and how dare they give you a security feature to be able to store your passphrase in a safe place because somebody could access it and the governments could get it. And I get that. For me, I work with grandmas and grandpas, and I'm so happy grandma's not going to lose her passphrase, because the biggest risk to your crypto when you're self-custodying it is your mind, and you forgetting where you stored the phrase or forgetting where the ledger is. And having that security is amazing, and it's an optional thing. Not everybody is going to be forced into this. This is a subscription service that you can optionally sign up for. So I don't understand what the hubbub is about, beyond just a tantrum that the kids like to throw about how their wild, wild west world is coming to an end. And the wild, wild west world of crypto is coming to an end. We've lived in a world where billions and trillions of dollars could move at a whim without very much tracking, even though a lot of it's transparent because it's on the blockchain. And I think the shift as we go into a more mature market, as the adoption happens, this is just a natural process. So for me, Ledger is updating the security features. Solution is don't use Ledger if you don't want to use it, or move to a Trezor. Or if you're like me, embrace the fact that grandma is not going to lose her 24 words, because to her, it doesn't even make sense how 24 words can store all of her money. Are you a grandma? Good for you. Are you a crypto head? Choose your own adventure. Now, the securities lawsuits have been very interesting. The SEC has sued 68 cryptocurrencies recently for being securities, unregistered securities. Solana, Cardano, Matic, which is Polygon, Filecoin, Atom, Sand, Mana, Algo, and a couple other ones that are big ones have also been part of that lawsuit. A lot of people are terrified because the regulators are coming after these cryptocurrencies, which means they're illegal, which means they must go down pretty soon, right? I think the opposite. I think XRP was sued first, and the lawsuit's been going on for years. But that's because secretively it's built by the people who own the financial system. Some people call them the elites. I call them the people who own the financial system and the bankers. I think XRP was custom made to sit in between the fractured financial fiat currencies of the world as a transfer mechanism. And this lawsuit was the way to give XRP regulatory clarity first. So the sovereign wealth funds could transfer their money through it, and it could actually sit in between the financial system by the time the complete shift happens by about 2025. Now, Solana, Cardano, Polygon, Filecoin, Atom, Sand, Mana, Algo, it seems like all of these coins are also going to be part of the new Metaverse and financial framework. So now they're being sued to scare you away, so that the people who actually understand the process are going to go in and buy them at pennies on the dollar while the lawsuits happen. And when the lawsuits end, voila, they have regulatory clarity. Therefore, they become the place that all of the big money is going to go to. That is, again, my opinion. So securities lawsuits are happening. Coinbase has been charged with selling tokenized securities or unregistered securities. But Coinbase is also partnered with BlackRock and is as created by the bankers as it can get. So I think, again, Coinbase is going to get regulatory clarity. Binance is also being sued. And this is where I differ from Coinbase, that Binance is being sued for selling unregistered securities But Binance has always been the thorn in the side of the bankers because it's not fully created by them. We don't even know who the shareholders of Binance are. Pro tip. So I think Binance is actually going to go down and collapse in some time within the next 3 years, because that's where most of the unregistered stuff and all of the shit coins and other things are traded, or a lot of them are traded. And that is going to bring the crypto framework, or the vast majority of crypto flow, into the US and under the control of the regulators. Again, my opinion, none of this is financial advice. This is financial opinion, but it's a good financial opinion. So please take it into consideration, do your own research, and please send me something if you find something that's the opposite of what I'm saying, because I love to learn, So these securities lawsuits are happening. What should we do, Sam? Well, for me personally, I'm going to buy these cryptos when they crash, because I know who they're made by. I know the value that they're going to generate for the world going forward. Like, XRP has the potential to make global transfers between currencies happen within 3 seconds, which now today takes 5 days and insane amounts of fees. It has on-demand liquidity, which is a huge problem of nostro vostro accounts, where we have $5 to $10 trillion sitting at any time in different bank accounts to transfer foreign currencies. It solves that problem. That's a huge problem. So for me, XRP has always been a great bet. Solana is one of the fastest blockchains. It's one of the most used. It has some of the highest development happening on it. It is made by all of the members that you normally look for to be part of, to know that this is going to be part of the future framework. Cardano, same thing. It's being deployed across the world. It has many use cases. It's made by the people who you want to look for. Polygon, I mean, everything we're building is on Polygon. There's so much development happening on Polygon. And Polygon is basically Ethereum optimized. And Ethereum is owned by BlackRock, and rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat. So again, this starts to tell you a lot about what these specific coins are and why they're being targeted directly. Filecoin is going to be a coin that allows you to have decentralized file storage. It's like a decentralized Google Drive. How valuable is that? And then Sand and Mana are metaverses that have launched, and they're some of the oldest metaverses. So getting them regulatory clarity would have a huge effect. And there's massive development going on Sand. I know that for sure from inside. And Algorand, is part of the new financial framework, again, confirmed by the coders who are coding the private and public blockchains together to create the new financial framework. So I'm going to buy them. That's my solution. Also, another solution for me is I'm getting off of Binance. I got off of Binance a long time ago. I've got all my people off of Binance. Just, if you haven't heard this by now, get off of Binance. It's called Binance. Your finance, go bye-bye. Bye Binance. Okay? It's going to be another FTX, but it's going to be massive. On a positive note, BlackRock came out, the CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, on stage confirmed that tokenized securities are the future of finance. And tokenized securities is taking effectively stocks, but also bonds and all these other financial products, and turning them into tokens. Tokenized real estate. That's why we're tokenizing mines, tokenizing farms, tokenizing farm commodity supply chains. That is the future of finance. And the owners of the world, BlackRock, have confirmed that. So the solution is I'm getting into tokenized assets. That's a pretty simple one. Get to the place where the biggest money is going to go to in the next wave. And hopefully you are one of the people who benefits from the process. Also, drink good coffee, like our good friend Cyril would say. Now, XRP has been in a lawsuit for years now. We've been following the lawsuit very closely. Ripple won that lawsuit for about a year. It was clear that Ripple won the lawsuit. Now the final pieces of that lawsuit are coming through. And I would not be surprised if when the next financial calamity comes around the end of this year, it seems like XRP explodes while nobody's expecting it. Do I know that's going to happen? No. Would I love that to happen? Yes. Will I be jumping and dancing when that happens? Absolutely. Will I record it and post it? You know I definitely will. But the lawsuit is coming to an end. While in the background, there is so much development happening on this blockchain secretively. Countries and central banks and large institutions and MasterCard and Visa and all the big players are developing on this blockchain because it is built to sit in between the collapsing fiat currencies as a value transfer mechanism. I think that's valuable. Swift transfers $5 trillion a day today, and it takes 5 days sometimes to transfer. XRP has the ability to transfer hundreds of trillions or quadrillions of dollars within 3 seconds. I think that's useful. XRP lawsuits happening. The solution is, you know what the solution is. I'm not going to recommend that one. Again, not financial advice, but I love XRP. Operation Choke Point 2.0 has been ongoing for quite a while. The Biden administration has been cutting crypto off from the banking system. If you watch the Ray Dalio talk about the changing world order, he speaks about how when the dominant country understands that there's capital flight happening and everybody's leaving their currency, they start to cut off any doors to exit. So Operation Choke Point 2.0 is that process of cutting crypto off from the banking services. So you can't even move your money, US dollars, from your bank account to crypto. They're also cutting big players like Binance off from the SWIFT system, which is another process of not being able to bring your money back out of Binance into your bank account. Operation Choke Point 2.0, you know what I mean. Operation Choke Point 2.0 is cutting everybody off of the banking and SWIFT systems. The solution is get your cash out of the bank and turned into USDC, or invest it into crypto, or invest it into assets, or invest it into different jurisdictions, or move yourself to a different jurisdiction, or fly to Mars with Elon, but that one's going to be a complicated solution. I feel like the first ones are actually better solutions. A lot of people are moving their wealth out of the US, which is capital flight. So even the banks are making it difficult for you to move your capital. I know people who've had to fly back to the US just to be able to move their money out of Bank of America because they won't let them move it overseas. A lot of people are moving their wealth to places like Dubai, British Virgin Islands. A lot of people are moving it here to Indonesia, which has been considered a black sheep in the financial system. But actually, the banks here are over collateralized, whereas the banks in the US have 5% collateral and 95% debt. So it's likely that when the banking system collapses, they are going to print ridiculous amounts of money and pump it into the US banking system and globally. In that process, people will feel like they didn't lose their money, but actually their purchasing power will have been diluted. While at the same time, real estate markets are going down, while unemployment is going up, while AI is taking over a lot of people's jobs, while cryptocurrency is developing new value models, which most people don't understand, right? The chaos is continuing. Now, at the same time, 69 countries are ready to collapse within the next 2 years. Not my words, Google it yourself. The currencies of those countries are teetering. Their US dollar reserves, which is what's used to buy oil, are dwindling. And the moment oil stops, the country stops. Case in point, Sri Lanka, Lebanon, Syria, Venezuela. Even Guatemala is actually on the risk list. But in that process, capital flight becomes a bigger issue. So these countries cut you off from being able to leave. Right now, you can't move your money out of Algeria. You can't move your money out of Turkey. You can't move your money out of a lot of places. And now the US is starting to sing that tune. China's already blocked things off for a long time. A lot of countries are protecting their currencies. And as that collapse happens, the people who are invested in those countries and the people who are living in those countries, which are the good people that always get hurt. All of that is probably going to trigger World War III, but other than that, everything's going to be fine. If currencies are crashing across the globe, learn about those currency crashes. That's a huge solution. Another one is convert to USD at this time from other currencies if you are exposed in those currencies. And again, choose your own adventure here. I'm not saying just run out and do it right now. Definitely do your own research on that. Another solution to currencies crashing is a lot of people are converting to USDC and self-custodying it. Another solution is people are moving to crypto so that when the currencies crash, they're actually in crypto. That's why during this recent banking collapse, crypto pumped while other assets were going down, because when the trust in the banking system gets lost, when the trust in your government gets lost and the stability of your country gets lost, moving to a jurisdictionless set of assets, especially something like Bitcoin, becomes the name of the game. That's why it was invented. Coincidentally, it was invented in 2009, right after the 2008 crash. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, it's a conspiracy theory, or one of those C words. While the currencies are collapsing on that side, conveniently, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and now Saudi Arabia is joining them, are coming together to create their own currency, which they'll be able to transact in, so they don't have to use the US dollar. The International Monetary Fund is creating the Universal Monetary Unit, UMU currency. How that's going to be used, who knows? But UMU could be a problem, or it could be a solution. But it's being created. The Bank of International Settlements, BIS, is creating the M-Bridge system. That's M-Bridge system. That is potentially going to be a blockchain-based system where a lot of currencies can be issued, and maybe the BRICS currency will be on the M-Bridge system. We don't know yet. But there are new currencies being created. Now, these currencies are going to be central bank digital currencies. Central bank digital currencies are currencies issued by the central banks. They are programmable currencies. They most likely will have negative interest rates. So the more wealth you accrue, more nominal numbers on a screen in your currency that you accrue, and the longer you try to hold it, the more it will diminish over time, reducing the ability for somebody to be able to accrue wealth, potentially blocking people from being able to buy assets like crypto, like real estate, blocking your ability to be able to move overseas, blocking the capital flight. You can see a theme developing here, that we are now in the end game of the financial systems. So if CBDCs are being issued and BRICS is creating their own currency and IMF is making their own currency and the M-Bridge currency is created, the solution for me is to learn about these things and stay on top of them. If this is the first time you're hearing about them, please go research it yourself. The more you learn, the more you earn, and the less you burn, and then it's your turn. I'm a poet, and I definitely know it. Another set of bad news I'd like to bring you, but with a solution, is it looks like the commercial real estate markets are about to collapse globally. Because in 2008, we had the residential real estate mortgage-backed security collapse. Now we're looking at the commercial real estate mortgage-backed security collapse coming up, because nobody wants to go to work anymore in an office. These offices are at the edge of bankruptcy. Interest rates are so high that when they have to refinance their debt, we are having a wall of bankruptcies at our door. It looks like it's going to start to happen by the end of this year, but who knows? I don't have crystal balls. A lot of jokes there. Money printing is coming up. So this is something very poignant to understand. And Raoul Paul's model to everything, I forgot exactly what it's called, but it's he basically came up with a way to look at how all the different assets move. And the key kernel in there is that the asset values are tied to global liquidity being printed by the central banks and dumped into the system. That makes sense, right? They print money, put it into the system. That system is dropping purchasing power. Before the purchasing power drops, the smart people go and buy assets with it. Asset prices pump. Therefore, global liquidity is tied to asset prices going up. Now, what he mentioned is there's a 3.5-ish year cycle, a debt cycle that happens. So usually the debt is issued between 3 to 5 years. And when around the 3.5 year mark, when the vast majority of the organizations and countries want to refinance their debt, then magically central banks drop the interest rates back down to zero and they get to issue more debt, which is printing money into the system. And we're coming up now for that refinancing to happen, which is another wind in our sails, which makes it really likely that soon there's going to be a financial event that comes out of the blue, maybe a commercial real estate collapse that requires us to print a large amount of money, issue a bunch of new debt, and keep this merry-go-round going around and keeping some people merry and some people divorced. If money printing is coming up, simple solution: buy assets. Crypto, real estate, choose your own adventure. Assets pump when money gets printed. Crypto is tied to global liquidity. So when central banks print, a lot of that money goes to digital assets. And now with the tokenized security wave that's coming, it's going to go into assets, digital assets that are based on real world assets like tokenized real estate, tokenized farming, tokenized companies, tokenized people, tokenized AIs, tokenized metaverses, tokenized. And if I keep saying the word tokenized enough, I think you'll understand what tokenized is. And if you don't understand what tokenized is, please learn about this, because the world is about to tokenize around you. And if you're somebody who has lived in this old Bretton Woods US dollar-based system and you're used to consistency and stability, please read a history book and study how every time in history people were stable until their system completely collapsed and they never even expected it. But if they understood what the new system was, they were able to transition to that and actually accrue generational wealth while protecting their families against all of this bullshit. So the next wave in crypto, in my approximation and opinion, the next wave in crypto is going to be tokenized securities. For 3 years, I've been talking about it, and I've been tokenizing mines and tokenizing farms and tokenizing farm productivity and now tokenizing real estate. BlackRock has said that tokenized securities are the future. Regulations are being implemented globally, and by 2025, they will be clear. And luckily, by that time, the next wave of liquidity comes, and the sovereign wealth funds and the BlackRocks of the world are going to open their wallets and take their fiat currencies that are burning a hole through their pocket and move it into tokenized securities. Because real estate and farms and gold and things we dig out of the ground are the real wealth. So that's where they like to invest. And this is coming from them. And I get to hang out with them now. It's kind of cool. So just kind of giving you a pro tip there. I heard it from a friend, though. I don't know for sure, kind of, maybe, sort of. For us, tokenized AI is going to be a huge thing coming up. AI is going to revolutionize the world even more than the internet has. The internet was actually just the framework for AI to take over the world. That's my opinion. As the world becomes metaverse-sized and the digital and the physical melt together, so the digital comes into the physical and the physical goes into the digital, the tokenized AI wave is going to be immense, because AI is going to add so much value to people's lives and simplify so many processes, and especially allow us to interact in that new experiential metaverse-based world, that tokenized AIs are going to be the craziest wave coming up. That also ties into tokenized metaverses. So digital places where people can go hang out are going to be a huge wave. And then things like real-world asset-backed DeFi are going to be massive. So that's taking the real world, using that as collateral to issue debt in the DeFi space is a huge next wave that's coming up. How do I know? Congratulations. I would like to tell you about a new project that has been brought onto my radar. It's called FU Finance. Seriously, it's called FU Finance. And yes, it stands for exactly what you think it stands for. It is a joke, as crypto is always a joke, on the words fuck you money. FU Finance. It's a real world asset backed lending marketplace that has over $200 million of value inside of it already. And there's going to be billions of dollars of assets that are going to be put onto this platform that will allow lending to be accessed by countries which don't have a defined infrastructure. And yes, I have been brought on as a friend to just help them with that process. Now, if you are somebody who's laughing at this and going, this is ridiculous, it is ridiculous. But also remember this, in the last wave, kids made more money from pancake swap than Warren Buffett did in 100 years of investing. One kid made more money in a week and a half of buying a dog-eared shitcoin joke than Warren Buffett did in 100 years of investing. A joke metaverse dog-eared coin that we knew was a joke called Dogecoin went to a $90 billion market cap. $90,000 million. So our jokes are serious jokes. I would really recommend you take these jokes seriously. Otherwise, you don't understand what these kids are building. And it's really important to understand that these generations, my generation and the following generations, we have a chip on our shoulder. We came into a world where the opportunity to accrue assets was so limited that we had to live with our parents until 30. And the world was laughing at the millennials as being lazy and wondering why we don't go to work and work our asses off. But when we know if we work our asses off, we get pennies and we'll never be able to accrue wealth like our parents. So when we created a new financial system, or in my approximation, it was created by the bankers and given to us, we started to create jokes, but jokes that are seriously changing the world, that are fundamental shifts in the operation of humanity, where value flows along mechanisms which most people do not understand, and the velocity of liquidity becomes almost infinite. Because you have to understand, the old world had systems where money moved slowly, therefore value moved slowly, therefore business happened slowly, therefore productivity was not as high as it could be. In the world we're building, we'll be able to pop into existence wherever we like. We will be able to transact value automatically. We have digital value models where our pictures sell for $69 million as a joke today, and Pancake Swap makes billionaires, and our jokes get $90 billion market valuations today out of just a tiny $3 trillion market cap. Whereas the global asset market cap is somewhere close to $1.6 quadrillion when you consider securities and derivatives and all the assets put together. So take these jokes seriously. They're funny now, but they might not be funny for some people at some times. Now, this part's not a joke. We have projects which we've built for a long period of time, so I just want to give you an update on that because a lot of people have asked for that. The first project was real earth elements. We tokenized gold, iron, copper, and nickel mines. The mines have been functional in Chile, and now Philippines is being brought online. The technology has been developed and the security filings are completing. So that's a huge success, and that is a massive value model going forward because precious metals and metals in general, there's a massive shortage. All of that money is going to be chasing real world wealth, which commodities are a huge part of. And we have a world where we're going to digitize and electrify the entire world. So things like copper become the name of the game, and there is not enough supply in the world. And mines take years and years to bring online. So we got ahead of that wave, and that tokenized version of the mines is being deployed and functioning properly. So huge thumbs up to the guys there. The one I'm excited about right now is FarmCent. That is a tokenized commodity supply chain where we're connecting food goods from places like Indonesia and India with countries across the globe, starting with the Middle East. So we can solve the food security issue on that side and bring that money into places like Indonesia and make sure the farmers here are compensated fairly, all done through a blockchain-based token system that is partially going to be backed by gold and is going to be the new way that millions of tons of food will reach the mouths of people where it's needed. FarmScent is a fantastic system that we're building. And yes, I'm doing a shameless plug here. The IDO is coming up, which is an initial DEX offering. The technology is already built. The next testing between Dubai and Indonesia is going to start very soon. The shipping partners have been brought on. The supply chains have been set up and tested. And India and Indonesia are coming online as the two major bread baskets that will connect the world to bring food to the places where food is needed. Now, when you bring food to a place and you bring stability to food prices, you bring stability to a country, which means our beautiful families in those countries don't suffer from fluctuations and all of the problems that come with instability in these times. So I'm very proud of that. And there'll be massive updates coming up soon. And that is also connected to the other project that I've been helping out with, and that is 5 Harvesto, which is the tokenized farm productivity here in Indonesia. It's been beautiful because the Indonesian government has stepped up and actually supported us throughout this process and allowing us to be able to bring global investment into the farming of Indonesia in a way where you cannot own the farms themselves, but you can support the farmer's ability to fund the next harvest, and the farmer will provide some of the profits of that harvest back to the person who actually supports this process. And then we take those commodities, hand it over to FarmScent, ship it over to the Middle East, solve problems on multiple ends, and in the end, the people who are involved in the process get what they deserve, which is value. So if you add value to people's lives, digital or physical, or in this case, digital and physical, the universe listens. The universe listens when you put food on plates. The universe listens when you create more fair and equal economic systems and when you solve the big problems. And the universe takes care of those who give back to the universe. So, a lot of problems, a lot of solutions. If any of this doesn't make sense, please learn about it. We'll keep you updated. As always, rule number 1, stay calm. Stay calm and stay calm. Meditate. Times of chaos are there to shake you up. Because when you really think about it, the old world system is collapsing, but a new world system is rising. The old way of doing things is ending, but a new, more beautiful way of doing things is coming to life. As the currencies are collapsing, the global wealth is going to be transitioned to this new financial system. And if you are calm enough and centered enough to stay centered through this chaos, you potentially will be one of the people that benefits from this process in a massive way. And if you get shook up, all of this will happen in the background while World War III will be happening in the foreground. So meditate, stay centered. Love you all, and we'll see you very soon.